Now, the important points that you need to remember regarding Right to Information Act 2005. Firstly, right to information has been recognized now as a statutory right, a legal right. Why? Because this right has been conferred on us by a law enacted by the Parliament. This is not a right which has been directly conferred on us by the Constitution by way of fundamental rights. Clear? So this is a legal right which has been conferred on us by a law enacted by the Parliament in 2005. Second point, that prior to the enactment of this law, Right to Information Act, on many occasions, Supreme Court had recognized the significance of right to information, and Supreme Court tried to relate this right to information with right to freedom of speech and expression under Article 19 Fundamental Rights and right to life and personal liberty under Article 21, which I have already explained in my previous lecture, that it is difficult to think of good governance, it is difficult to think of democracy, it is difficult to think of enjoying the right to freedom of speech and expression, right to life and personal liberty, right to give expression to one's inner freedom of conscience without right to information. Clear? Third point, you need to remember that this law confers on the citizen of this country the right to seek information, from public authorities. And on the other hand, it becomes the duty of public authorities under this law. This law has made it a duty of public authorities to share information with the public as and when they ask for such information. Next point, you need to remember that this right too, like most of the rights, right to information too is not an absolute right. It means it is subject to certain conditions, certain restrictions can be imposed. What I mean to say, one cannot seek information pertaining to each and every activity or subject matter of the government. In the larger interest of society, in the larger interest of the country, our national interest, our sovereignty, certain information, crucial information may not be disclosed by the government to the citizenry. Point is clear? So, right to information is not an absolute right. It's also subject to certain conditions, certain restrictions. Clear? Next, under Right to Information Act, what is the meaning of information? We have been conferred with the right to seek information from public authorities. So two words are very important, two expressions. First, information. What is the meaning of information under Right to Information Act 2005? And secondly, you should know what is the meaning of public authorities. So first of all, what is information? RTI Act, Right to Information Act, when it uses the word information, which has to be given by public authorities to the citizenry as and when it is asked for. What is the meaning of such information? According to RTI, information means any material in any form, including records or documents, memos, opinions, advices, circulars, orders, logbooks, contracts, or the provisions related to any treaty or agreement, something like this, samples, models, data, all these things which are associated with decision making or implementation in the government in one or other form. It also includes information related to any private body which can be accessed by a public authority under any other law. Point is clear? So information includes, opinions, advices, press releases, any data, statistics, so all such things associated with all the inputs and outputs pertaining to decision making and decision implementation. It also includes information relating to any private body. Such private body is working under public authority. Getting a point? Under some kind of collaboration, if regarding that private body, information is required so that public authority can be approached for such information. Obviously, these are guided by certain rules and regulations. Point is clear? Now come to public authorities. I have discussed in my previous lecture, but once again for your benefit, I would like to repeat it. Under Right to Information Act, public authority means any authority. Public authority means any authority which has been created by the constitution or any authority or any institution created by a law made by the parliament or by a law of state legislature or any institution which has been created by executive order. So any body owned, controlled and substantially financed by the government, central government or state government come within the ambit of Right to Information Act. It means they are bound to share information provided such information is not related to the subject matter which has been classified as secret, which cannot be disclosed to anybody. Clear? Even non-governmental organizations substantially financed directly or indirectly by the governments, may come within the ambit of, Right to Information Act. Even Supreme Court and High Court come within the ambit of RTI, Right to Information Act. Delhi High Court judgment much earlier made it clear that even CJI comes within the ambit of RTI because courts are also public authorities. Point is clear? Then, the content of information I have discussed. Machinery, I have discussed that Right to Information Act provides for the establishment of a Central Information Commission and then Central Information Commission in Delhi and then State Information Commission in every state. What is the responsibility? Such commission has a responsibility to monitor the implementation of the provisions of Right to Information Act. They can entertain any complaint. And they can dispose it off. They can also pass, the orders or they can issue guidelines regarding what? Regarding the more efficient and effective implementations of the content or the provisions or the spirit of Right to Information Act for the benefit of all. Clear? Then the Act also provides for public information officer to be appointed in every department, then assistant public information officers. Remember, such public information officers are not to be appointed separately. No separate exam is required to be conducted for their appointment. No. Among the officers of the department, some officers may be designated for this task. An officer may be designated as a public information officer. No separate recruitment is required for that purpose. Point is clear? So these are the important things that you need to remember. And complaints under RTI Act can be made to the State Information Commission. Thereafter, you can also make complaint to Central Information Commission. These are autonomous bodies which have been created under a law, RTI Act 2005. Getting a point? So complaints can be made to CIC, which is an autonomous body set up to inquire into all such complaints received from citizens. Complaints may cover the areas like refusal of access to information or improper handling by the public authority of the request for the information, their failure to share information within the time-bound arrangement, clear failure to give information in the form or manner it has been sought, or failure to properly explain the reasons for refusing information. So in all such cases, State Information Commission and Central Information Commission, as the case may be, they can intervene. In extreme situation, Information Commission can impose a fine on the public information officer. Public information officer can be asked to pay a fine to the tune of 250 rupees per day or something like this, and up to rupees 25,000 for any kind of unreasonable and unintelligible delay in sharing information. So it means the government has taken a lot of precaution here, that in case, even though the rights are conferred on the citizenry by such a law, but if public authorities refuse to comply with their statutory obligations, so there should be some means and mechanism to enforce their accountability. Accordingly, the Act has empowered information commissions to impose fine. Given the imposed fine on the public information officer, given the gravity of the case. Point is clear? So the Act provides for universal access, especially to the poor, with a low fee to all such informations which are required regarding the functioning of the government. Clear? Now you can see it on the other side. What are the responsibilities of public authorities? I have discussed the meaning of information. I have discussed what is the meaning of public authorities. I have discussed that every citizen has the right to seek information. Public authorities have to share information as a part of their duty. So what are the responsibilities of public authorities in general? Public authorities have to take, certain actions as per the requirement of law. That is, first of all, they should appoint public information officers and assistant public information officers. Okay, with the various departments. There should not be any department where you don't have public information officer to share information asked by the citizen. Clear? Then it is for the public authority, the duty of public authority, responsibility of public authorities to ensure that informations are properly maintained, and then they are properly computerized and they are indexed, so that as and when any information is required, it could be readily shared. It is not only a matter of sharing information. You have to share information in a very meaningful form and manner and with due efficiency. Clear? And publishing within 120 days of the enactment a whole set of information and updating it every year. So it was a condition was met. Or you can say an obligation was set under the law itself, that the day the law was enforced, 2005, then onwards, within 120 days, all the departments, public authorities were supposed to publish a whole set of information and to update it every year. Point is clear? So apart from this, publishing all relevant facts while formulating important policies, this is a duty and responsibility of public authorities to provide reasons for their administrative or quasi-judicial decisions which are taken and which affect the parties. Providing information suo motu by placing it on the internet. Online, information should be made available. It is not necessary that every information has to be shared only when it has been asked. Some basic information, important informations can be released, can be published by public authorities on their own. Clear? Then providing information to Information Commission as and when it is asked for. Point is clear? Then raising awareness among the people and educating them and training them how to seek information, and how to participate in the process of decision making and how to enforce the accountability. Point is clear? So from time to time, they are required to regulate and update, the quantum of the quantity of information. Clear? And you can see, the operations of RTI, its success and failure on day-to-day basis. In newspapers, very frequently you come across this kind of new items. RTI related to you come across new items related to RTI. So overall, you can say the right to information, has played a very important role in bringing transparency and accountability of administrative transparency in the functioning of public authorities, and it has been used effectively by more particularly civil society, the members of civil society and rights activists, to enforce the accountability of the government. It is a powerful weapon in the hands of civil society and media and all such agencies to expose the loopholes in the operations of the government and to educate the masses about what is going on in the government, and directly or indirectly providing inputs to the government as well. So Right to Information Act, you can say, is a very important tool, is a very important instrument which has been wielded so nicely by many activists so as to bring greater amount of transparency, accountability in the overall governance. But there is other side of the story, that RTI, though we have enacted Right to Information Act, but there has been several instances of RTI activists being killed by the anti-social elements. Those who were getting affected by the disclosure of the information, they took this kind of extreme measures, which is a matter of concern. Even today, we don't have clear-cut policy, or we don't have a dedicated means or mechanism whether under law or in terms of institutions to protect the life of RTI activists, to provide them security. So there has been several instances of violence against RTI activists. Again, implementation is a challenging area, though the law clearly provides that 30 days, 40, 45 days within the bounds of which information has to be shared. But we see very frequently the instances, we come across instances where bureaucracy comes up with one of the kind of reasons, and RTI applications are found to be pending for months. So there has not been, so much of efficiency on display as was contemplated, by the lawmakers. So these are some problems which are required to be taken care of. Sometimes Right to Information Act is also used, with wrongful intent. Sometimes it is done only to disturb bureaucracy, which is also a matter of concern, because every right, you can say, any act which is any law which is enacted to confer rights, it acts like a double-edged sword. If your society is educated, if the members in the society, they are responsible and they know very well the intent and purpose behind the act, and if they use such law going beyond the narrow confines of individual political interest, then every law is fine, good. But regarding RTI, there has been instances wherein the law has been used motivated less by the concern for welfare, development, transparency, etc., and more by the political interest. Sometimes it is also misused by some agencies and vested interests. So overall it happens, but there is no denying the fact that such kind of things do happen with every law. So it is the responsibility of the lawmakers to incorporate certain safeguards to strike the fine balance between the conflict of interest. On the one hand, we have to provide a device, we have to provide some means and mechanism to the society so that they could seek information. But on the other hand, we need to ensure that such rights are not stretched to an extent wherein they tend to interfere, or they start interfering in the very important or strategic the business of the government or administrative agencies. All informations cannot be shared, we should know that. So this right cannot be absolute right, it is only a relative right. Okay, so one more thing which is related to that, Official Secrets Act 1924, which has been in conference since 1924. So RTI activists since long have been demanding that even Official Secrets Act should be done away with. The act which allows the government not to share such information with the society or any other agency which may be prejudicial to the interest of the society or interest of the country. So under Official Secrets Act, some kind of protection is given to the decision of the government not to disclose certain information. So many RTI activists for long have been demanding, doing away with such Official Secrets Act, but the Administrative Reforms Commission, and after that a group of ministers under the leadership of Pranab Mukherjee, who was the former president of India. So such a group of ministers suggested against the idea of doing away with the Official Secrets Act. So what I mean to say, notwithstanding the campaign by RTI activists that even Official Secrets Act should be done away with, all information should be disclosed, government has accepted that yes, most of the informations information should be disclosed and should be shared with the public, but in the larger interest of society and the nation, our strategic interest, we cannot share all such information. So that's why Official Secrets Act still continues, and this is my opinion as well, that it should continue. Excess of everything is bad. Information has to be shared. Transparency has to be brought, but it does not mean that the rights are to be stressed to such an extent that the authority of the state is crippled and the ability of the state to steer the country out of any crisis is compromised. No, those who have ultimate authority have also responsibility to look after the things. Getting a point? And in furtherance of such responsibility, to discharge such responsibilities, they need some kind of means and mechanism, and they are required to be allowed allowed to decide what is to be shared and what is not to be shared. So therefore, informations related to our defense preparedness or some important treaties agreement that we sign with the foreign governments, there can be some secret clause there. Then certain things related to our research and development activities, then informations related to our information regarding the functioning of intelligence bureau, research analysis wing. Getting a point? So intelligence agencies, information related to intelligence agencies cannot be and should not be shared. So therefore, notwithstanding acknowledgement of or appreciation of the case for expanding the scope of right to information, we cannot stretch it to the extent wherein our national interest is compromised. So RTI and Official Secrets Act, they are not mutually exclusive, and they are not contradictory to each other. Both of them can exist side by side. Both of them are connected to each other. While informations can be shared, all informations cannot be shared. This is not in the interest of in the interest of the society and our country.